Third stimulus check and third stimulus package. The bill that has your stimulus check in it and everything else that we've been talking about on this channel, like FPC, will be called for a vote early next week in the House of Representatives. That's the great news. But the really interesting news is that the push to change modifications of the language and the amounts only has about a 48-hour window because that finalization is going to be done by Friday. In this video, I express to you the importance to push followers of this channel to get language modification done now by tagging elected officials with this video, because certain language will be finalized by the end of this week, and then we're off to a vote on the bill in both the House and the Senate. The time is underway to get these changes fixed right now, and I have the details for you in this afternoon's recording of Third Stimulus Check and Third Stimulus Package. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LALATE with a continuation of a 3-show programming block. The video right before this check went over the passage of the bill and the routing times of when the bill is going to get voted upon and the approval, the money could land in your bank account. This video, however, goes over the provisions of the bill itself and how we have really only a 48-hour window to change these provisions because the finalization will be Friday. In this video, I go over those details, but first, subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button is in the description and also in the pinned comment. Subscribe because this is the only channel that's going into incredible detail of a upwards of 6,000-page bill with a 30-page summary that only I have obtained a copy of that explains what's in the provisions of the bill. You're hearing this months and weeks before anyone else. Meantime, also consider liking this video. It helps the video appear higher in the ranking. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member, Purple Power, Casino VIP, or Purple Hawk. The link to join is in the description, in the pinned comment, and also under the video's title. In this video, I go over what's going on with the negotiations of language and amounts in the third stimulus package, and what is right and what is wrong, and what needs to be fixed, and how soon you have to work on this fix. And with that, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that we really have only 48 hours to work with. Why? Because the House subcommittees are currently working on the bill. What are House subcommittees? The House of Representatives has subcommittees that deal with subject matters, and they're each dealing with their own respective subject matter right now. For example, the business subcommittee is dealing with the business grants and the business loans. And so if they don't like the language, they're modifying the language. If they don't like the amount, they're modifying the amount. If they don't like the eligibility, like who qualifies for it, who can apply, is it retro, is it going forward, they're modifying that language. Well, now is the time to get your insight, your push, your word underway because they have to finalize by Friday. Nancy Pelosi has given them a strict order that they need to finalize their determination on a subcommittee level by Friday because early next week she is ready to call the whole bill for a vote with that modified language. And hence, you need to push right away. So what are the modified words and what are the items that you need to push about? In this video, I go through all of the 22 items that are really at issue here, and you're going to see what is right, what is wrong, what is missing, and what is high and what is too low. Meantime, I'll be answering some of your over 2,000 questions from yesterday's video on this time slot. So if you have questions or comments in today's video, whether you're a member or non-member, drop in the comments below. I may feature them in tomorrow's recording, and you may hear your question read on air. First, the stimulus check itself. The third stimulus check is $1,400 for individuals, $3,200 for adult dependents. Sound fair? It's not fair. First of all, the amount is not as promised. You are promised a brand new 2020 year's stimulus check. You're not being given a 2021 stimulus check. You're being given the leftover stimulus check from last year. Ossoff and Warnock ran in Georgia. Biden ran for the presidency. Nancy, Chuck, and AOC all collectively said you are getting a new $2,000 stimulus check in 2021, in addition, not in replacement to, in addition to the Cash Act of 2020. Last year, you were supposed to get $1,400 on top of $600 to bring you to $2,000. And you were supposed to get a new stimulus check this year. Well, they couldn't get the $1,400 fixed last year, so they said, well, take care of it next year. And we'll also have a new stimulus check for you next year to cover you for the 6 months of the pandemic. Well, they were reneging on their promise. You need to hold them accountable and say, you promised us $2,000 and $1,400. In fact, Ossoff and Warnock ran on a very distinct, repeated claim that they were going to give you a full $2,000 stimulus check if they're elected to Congress from the state of Georgia. They haven't even been there a week and they're reneging on their promise. So hold them accountable for what they said. The current bill proposal from Joe Biden, $1,400 for individuals, $1,400 for children, and $3,200 for adult dependents. If you're on SSI and SSDI, you would still get a stimulus check, whether you're adult dependent or non-adult dependent, based upon those items. The next item, FPUC. What is FPUC? It's an unemployment boost. It goes on top of your UI and PUA. What were you promised? You were very, very clearly promised by Joe Biden in writing in December after he was elected. $600 a week. He wrote the number. Retroactively, he said the words. Back to July when FPUC expired. In December, Nancy Pelosi promised the same thing. She said, we'll be back and we will give it to you retroactively. The current proposal for Joe Biden is not retroactive. It's not $600 a week. It is $400 a week going forward. Not particularly consistent again. $400 a week to September 2021 is the proposal under the third stimulus package. $400 a week, not retroactive. Hence, you need to push for $600 a week FPUC retroactive, as so promised. UI and PUA would also be extended to September 2021. Rent aid, utility aid, free internet, and free childcare. We don't know much about them, but they're all really quite great news. How do they work? The rent aid would provide rent for 3 parts of the U.S. economy. And this is very good news. First, it would provide rent for low income. Second, for middle class. And third, for homeless people. The rent would be held at the U.S. government. You would apply for it for the rent to be paid right to the landlord. When the federal government attempts to pay the landlord, if the landlord says, I'm not taking it, tough luck, then the federal government would give you the money and you would give the money directly to the landlord. It's a way to go around landlords who don't want to be cooperative. Now, I see a way in which this needs to be changed as well. VP Harris championed her own rent bill in fall of 2020 in the Senate. Her own rent bill said that you also needed an agency set up that would prosecute landlords that do not cooperate with the federal program, because she says you can pass as many rent programs as you want. Landlords don't follow them consistently, and you need to have a federal prosecution of them with a criminal statute. I think she's right. However, is that going to make it into the final bill? This is what needs to be added. Business grants and business loans, number 13 and 14. But before I get to that, let me get to the real obvious situation. SSI and SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. You know what I'm about to say. Where is it? Haven't heard about it. Now, the 30-page summary of a 6,000-page bill is a summary. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's things that aren't in the summary. But no one in the Biden administration, no document in the Biden administration since December of 2020 has mentioned you. November, extensively. October, extensively. The campaign, extensively. But as soon as we got to December, it went code silence. $200 a month on top of existing SSI and SSDI, Social Security and railroad benefits, plus a new benchmark that increases your benefits each year, and a lifetime increase up to 20%. It was promised on the campaign trail. It was promised after he was elected in transition papers. So where is it? Hashtag SS200. It may not be in there, and that's why you want to ensure that it is put in there. This is in addition to a stimulus check. Hashtag SS200, hashtag FPUC retro, and hashtag MSC. Coming up later in this video, I'm going to go over the other provisions that need to get fixed or the other provisions that don't need to be in there. Meantime, I'll be answering some of your over 2,000 questions in yesterday's video. If you have questions to what you're hearing so far, drop them in the comments below, whether you're a member or non-member, and I'll answer them potentially on air, and you can hear your name on air. Next, business grants and business loans. Don't know much about this. It says a business grant for existing businesses impacted by the pandemic. That's good. And then a business loan to start a new business. That's really good. This is my recommendation. First, the business grants should not be dependent upon or canceled out by prior business grants you got into this pandemic. If you got an EIDL grant of $1,000, you shouldn't be denied a business grant for this time around. Second, the business grant should be tied to the amount of income that you are generating during a good year before this pandemic hit. So during a good year, let's say you were making a profit of $200,000. You shouldn't be given a $1,000 grant to someone other that someone is competing for the same grant as you, only made $400 that same year. Businesses that were more profitable should be able to get bigger grants, and businesses that are smaller shouldn't be able to block you from getting the big grants. It's not particularly fair. Also, business grants should be indicative of the success of the company, and the company was very successful. They should be entitled to a very big business grant. Next, business loans. Business loans should not be blocked because of credit scores or collateralization. That has been the case in the EIDL, but not in the case of the PPP. You don't want to have people denied a business loan because of that low credit score, because people have low credit score during a pandemic, and you don't want it to be denied because they can't collateralize the loan either. Next, hazard pay, public sector, and hazard pay, private sector. Now, hazard pay public sector, Joe Biden has said that he's going to give $300 billion to the state and local, then they'll pay you the hazard pay. Some viewers may like this because ultimately, if you're a public servant, then you're going to certainly get paid, but ultimately the amount you're going to get paid is up to your boss, up to your city or county. But what about the private sector hazard pay? We know nothing about it. Joe Biden hasn't given us any details for it in the summary. Who's included? What's the eligibility? What's the amount? Is it $10,000? My recommendation on hazard pay is that it should really mirror the Nancy Pelosi HEROES Act hazard pay, which is the new hit show every night at 10 o'clock on this channel. I go live and chat with you in that video. However, there was one provision of that HEROES Act hazard pay that you and I know doesn't work and shouldn't be in there. That employers apply for you. Cut that out. Why? Because employers fire people, because employers lose their business, because employers go bankrupt, because employers don't want to do something that doesn't make them money. A comment that I haven't made in a couple of days. Mitt Romney talked about this extensively in 2020. Do you think a business owner is going to do bookkeeping to get 20 of his employees hazard pay if it doesn't make them any money and cost them thousands of dollars in bookkeeping and accounting fees? No, they're not going to do something they don't want to do. Moreover, Nancy Pelosi's bill says voluntary. It shouldn't be voluntary. It should be mandatory, and it should be allowed to the employee to apply, not the business owner. Then we go to child tax credit, earned income tax credit, and child care tax increase. You know, this is where lack of information causes people to run with fake narratives. I have the summary. You've been hearing it on this channel. You understand how these things work. Broadcast news reporters have not had access to the summary. So what they've done is they've heard things secondhand and modified the words to make it sound totally different than what it was. One of them is Joe Biden wants to take an existing child tax credit. Again, it's existing law, and modify it so that it is up to age 17. It's currently at age 16. That would result in people that are filing getting up to $3,600 for younger kids as a possible tax refund. Pretty simple. You understand that. It's not complex. Well, the broadcast news reports ran a fake narrative that Joe wants to give you $300 a month for 12 months. Exactly $3,600. That's not better, that's worse, and that's also not what he said. Why? When you file a tax return, that triggers a tax refund. You don't get paid the tax refund over time. You get paid it as soon as it's owed to you. So why would anyone talk about a tax refund paid to you over time? Doesn't make sense. It's also not what Joe Biden said. Moreover, the child tax credit, the earned income tax credit, and the child care tax credit increase have been the real big fake narratives. Why? Because they sound really fancy in big words. They're existing law. They're existing law. All he's doing is modifying the numbers a little bit, raising it from $500 to $1,500, raising it from age 16 to 17. They're existing law. It's not enormous stimulus. Bottom line is, if he wants to put in there, fine. But don't make it sound like it's a lot of stimulus, because it's not a lot of stimulus. It's just a little tinkering, and a little tinkering here, a little tinkering there. And you had some comments to his tinkering yesterday, about 2,000 of them. Let me answer them in today's recording. And if you have questions or comments to today's video, drop them in comments below. Mario Ange, stimulus for the American people, not for corporations or other countries. Amen. That was a response to Joe Biden sending over upwards of $8 billion to foreign Latin American countries on day one of his administration. Nelson Manning, in my opinion, we shouldn't be sending a penny to another country on these times. America first in these times right now. Sandra Simpson, make the people the priority. Without their votes and support to get this done, just do it. Lori Minshaw, our government needs to quit redirecting Social Security funds. Janice Howard, stimulus should be for Americans only, not other countries. They sure don't help us. Very clear messaging by viewers about this. Other countries, they don't like it. Norman Smith, pay us the months we had to sell everything in order just to pay the water bill and eat. Didn't have much, but at least it was mine. Douglas Grant, about time, let's rock and roll. Don't ever give up. Thank you, Douglas, for staying positive. Dave Hunter, y'all should be tagging Bernie. He's the only one who holds the deciding vote. Well, yeah, I do have to tag Bernie. Pat Jenkins, the narrative changes daily. Their attention seems to be so divided. Lord knows they need to figure it out before Nancy starts in on Trump's trial. Once that starts, they can't forget about helping us. Well, they do have enough time. That's several weeks away. MS, you don't know what they're going to do. They can tell you anything and do another. They've been doing that since March of last year. Robin with an AY. Was he to promise he was signing this on the 20th? In fact, he was told the checks were starting to hit the banks the week one from him being in the office. What the hell? Yes, he did promise that. Carol, I'm really afraid to believe him. Amy Coterman, LOL, we'll see this. It seems very much needed for many people right now. Sharon Valentine, I feel that they got what they wanted and they wanted so now they don't care about us now. Christy Fox, is that came from Nancy? I don't believe it. She said that all the time last year, next Friday or next Thursday. I don't believe it. Shamie Cahulia, Congress needs to think of seniors, someone who draws less than $1. Thank you for those incredible questions and comments in today's video. I really appreciate it. If you have questions or comments in today's video, drop them in comments below. They might be featured in tomorrow's recording. Meantime, coming up next is the continuation of this on being a Mitch. In that video, I go over the instruments that you need to have ready, the documents. What documents you need to be ready to get. Certain items on the stimulus package are automatic, certainly. Stimulus check is automatic. But rent, no. Hazard pay, no. Business grants, no. All these things require you to do something. Other items that are in this third stimulus package, which I didn't mention in this video, are the paid hazard, the paid sick leave, and the college financial aid. Those are included as well. If you have questions or comments, drop them below. Meantime, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this video. The subscribe link is in the description and also in the pinned comment. And consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. And with that, I'll see you on the next video. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay about life for more.